Welcome to the Barker Podcast Collection.
I suck, you suck, I suck at Call of Duty.
Welcome to the Not Playing Podcast. My name's Rob Howard, and this week I'm joined by
Ian Bruce, Patrick Kane,
and Adam Scott. Hello.
You can contact us on email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. So, got some crowdfunding type stuff here. First one is Allison Road. They had a Kickstarter. They ran about. They got this. This is the PT type thing. Haunted house experience. They had a Kickstarter going. They were asking for 250,000. They'd made about 140,000 up until this week, where they decided to cancel their Kickstarter because Team 17 have picked them up and they're going to publish.
That's all right. That's good.
That's great.
A bit annoyed that I backed them on the first day of it, but it's okay. I don't think I've lost any money yet.
No, they wouldn't have taken anything yet.
So does that mean that, I don't know, if you qualified for any Kickstarter rewards or anything, if that was a promised thing, do you still get it even though it's been picked up by somebody else?
No, they didn't finish it. So
I think part of this, people had asked that, obviously, as the Kickstarter cloud of negativity does linger sometimes. And they'd said maybe we can, if you've backed it, or we could do something about that. But if they're not going to take your money, which I'm assuming they're not now, I should probably...
No, they won't. They can't.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe they'll have other stuff before that you could pre-order, but then it becomes pre-order stuff. But that's alright.
Yeah.
It looks good enough that I would pre-order it anyway. So, and Team 17 have a good rep, don't they? They do from the
they've been going. They've been going for 25 years. They've been putting games out since Alien Breed on the Amiga. Yeah. Had lots of success with the Worms franchise and stuff like that. So
they do Lemmings.
It's probably a good home for it.
Lemmings. Oh, that was Psygnosis.
No, that wasn't.
Yeah, back in the day. Yeah, cool. The next thing that came up, I was very excited about when it was announced, is First Wonder, which is going to be like the spiritual successor to Giants, Citizen Kabuto.
Oh, God.
You mean that like Evolve was?
No, this is like, as in, you play like these little mech dudes, and but it's only the two factions is what they're putting forward. So there's a monster, there's a big creature, and there's all these guys.
Like Battlefront, they're stripping all the good things out of the game.
Well, anyway, I've got serious reservations this is going to happen. To be honest, their initial pitch video, while certainly people like me definitely got the spirit in which it was intended, they've still only raised 45 grand out of their 500,000 goal, and they've only got 11 days left.
Oh dear.
I've packed it, but I don't think they're going to be taking my money. But yeah, it's a shame really, but I was totally up for more stuff in that vein, with that humour. It looked like they had some interesting stuff going on with like the environment where you can sort of drop big, the little dudes were going to be able to like pull boulders around to block up volcanoes and stuff, which was the source of the monster's power. So, there would be more than just shooting involved.
Yeah.
If I've learned anything recently, though, it's innovation is far more exciting than nostalgia. Nostalgia often leads to disappointment, and I think Battlefront really drove that home as well. That if you're hankering for a 10-year-old experience, just play that original game.
Yeah.
Fair. Yeah, I don't know. I definitely agree with you that the humour and certain characteristics of the originals were definitely things that would be cool to see kind of similar things again. But yeah, I'm optimistic of getting excited about something just because the one before was good these days.
Yeah.
But I'm sure we all are.
Yes.
No, that's totally fair. The guys who made Shadowrun Returns did a Kickstarter for this new BattleTech game. I had no idea BattleTech was so massive. It's probably bigger in the States.
Yeah, it's huge in the States. Well, it was, I think.
But this is like the franchise that spawned like Mech Warrior and all these other things. But what's incredible is that their Kickstarter was asking for $250,000. They still have 20 days to go, and they're at 1.6 million. So I think that's definitely happening.
Oh, it's a con. It'll never come out.
Based on these guys' reputation, though, they've already put out 3 Shadowrun games and something else as well.
That's what Chris Roberts needs, a reputation. He's never going to do it without a good reputation.
That's why he's never put out anything worth
Yeah, he's rubbish. He should.
They have a good crowdfunding reputation.
Right. We'll get there. Don't worry.
Cool. Have you seen the cast though? Have you seen that Star Citizen cast?
We'll get there.
Well, let's just get into it.
No,
shall we?
let's make it last for as long as possible to get as many snipes along the way.
Well, there was fairly big news recently. The Escapist published an article about Star Citizen, in which they spoke to a lot of 9 clearly disgruntled ex-employees of Cloud Imperium. And in the article, they explained that they thought the ship was sinking. They expressed concern over the working conditions and mismanagement and lots of very disreputable stuff. And since then, Cloud Imperium has they have responded point for point almost in a follow-up article and have threatened legal action on the Escapist. The Escapists, meanwhile, are defending their situation and they're standing by what they have published. So it's all a big...
I think they can stand by what they published because they can probably cite sources who said what they have published. They're not saying we think this. They're saying other people have told us that this is what's going on, and these other people were working at Cloud Imperium Games. I think like a lot of this, there was an awful lot of mud flung around here. I think probably some of it is not completely devoid of merit. I think there are lots of places where you work where the working conditions are not great, especially in a high pressure environment. But a lot of what was said really is, you can hear people saying this is definitely happening, and what they mean is, I think this is happening.
Yeah.
I think certainly the way that you present, certainly your perception of how things may be run is obviously going to be coloured by your own personal experience. I know I can speak for personal experience that I've had a number of times in my employment history in recent years where I've thought the most diabolical decisions were taken at management level and things were going to be an absolute disaster. But you know what? Company's still in business, still putting out products, still doing stuff. And I think there are a lot of things that are said on there which are actually pretty serious in terms of employment law. You know, there are talks of racist and ageist hiring policies and stuff, which are probably some of the most serious things. And I think really, if that were really happening, you know, it's funny that all these people, all these developers that are unhappy have this first-hand knowledge of something that the head of marketing may have said about a hiring process, whether like they were in the interview. And I know that there's been a lot of things about you can't make the game for the money they've got, and it's like, well, Chris does make a very good point in there. It's like, well, how are these people qualified to make that assessment?
Yeah.
But then some people are saying that he's been away from the industry for a long time, and that he has no grasp of how much it costs to do the kinds of things that they're talking about. But he's not doing it
all on his own, is he? He's not. It's not Chris Roberts and his developers. You know, he's got Chris Roberts is the guy, is the captain at the head of the ship. Just because you as a developer go up to someone quite high up the food chain and say, I think we should do it this way, and he says, I don't like that idea, we're not going to do it, doesn't mean he's not taking advice from anyone. It just means he's not taking advice from you.
No, he's got like people around him that obviously have CVs in the industry and have experience doing what they're doing. I don't think anyone's quite done this before though, and I think that one of the sort of headlines here is ambition may be Star Citizen's greatest flaw. Yeah. One thing that really got to me when I was reading it, which kind of put it into perspective with me was that some people were saying that they weren't making a game, they were making a campaign, and that they were people all in there working on Star Citizen, and all they were doing was making these videos to sell these ships for extraordinary money.
But they haven't made one of those for 2 years.
And they are a business, they have to make money. And while they're not selling a product, anything they can do to get money through the door along the way is extremely helpful. PR and marketing is part of any business.
Especially when you crowdfund.
I think there's a small amount of confirmation bias with you in this article, Howard. You've certainly gone in with your predefined set of expectations, and they have been fulfilled.
Believe me, I would love nothing more for this game to be a reality. But I'm just fine. I just find like the number and points and the sort of.
But you can find anybody who will say this about any company. I don't know the ins and outs of the article, and I don't really care, because I'm not involved in it. If the people have these problems with it, going to the escapist and saying, wow, I have these problems, are not the way to get those problems resolved. The escapists aren't lawyers. The escapists aren't known for their hard, cutting-edge journalism and getting things done. It sounds like a cheap social justice warrior clickbait article because Star Citizen haven't done anything else this week. It sounds like shoddy journalism. If the facts bear it out to be different, I will absolutely swallow my words and apologise to everybody concerned. But it's just people shouting about something that they're not involved in anymore, and they're bitter about something that's happened along the way. It's not a story. I don't think it's a story. I think we could spend time talking about the Star Citizen ships, and that would be more within the remit of this podcast. Or we could talk about VR than going rah. I think more important things have happened within gaming that are tragic and annoying and bad than this fucking story. It's just it's clickbait.
When Star Citizen is released and it's out and it's on my hard drive and I'm disappointed with it, then I'll slag it off. I don't give a fuck until that happens. I'm just not interested until I've actually get.
I think actually the story about the story has, to be fair, has some merit, because it has. There is this pull that this kind of thing. I beg your pardon. There is this pull that this kind of thing puts over the Kickstarter model, which we're all very much in favour of. And there is that kind of thing that it's you can someone may not have shat the bed, but if they do a smell, then it lingers for a while. Which is it's a great term I've just made up. I think I might have to refine that. It doesn't quite work, but you kind of get my point.
But you kind
of get my point.
I absolutely agree.
And the fact is that I think all I'm really going to say about this is that the fact is that at the end of it was quite telling at the end of the article that these sources are all sort of saying, well, yeah, I'm sure Star Citizen will come out one day, but it probably won't be the game that the guy was promising. And that's like a really loose kind of catch-all. So if Star Citizen doesn't come out, then you can say you were right. If Star Citizen does come out, you can say you were right because it wasn't quite the vision that may have been knocked around in development meetings while you were working there.
And also, is that vision the one defined by yourself or the developer? Is it the one that you interpreted from the 30-second trailer that you saw 2 years ago, or is it what you've been told?
But that's what he's led the whole campaign on, is people pinning their ideas on these luxurious.
But all
trailers.
Advertising campaigns are run like that, Rob, on everything, not only computer games.
Star Wars
that's how advertising works.
Campaign is about.
That's how all advertising works.
True.
I live in Guildford in the UK, which is a hub of the games industry, and I have friends in the games industry here, and any one of them could say all of this shit that these guys are apparently saying when they're having a bad day. As any one of us could about our job. When they're having a good day, it's the best thing to be working in everywhere.
Yeah.
Ever. But during crunch period and during the dark times when this and that isn't working and all the rest of it, they fucking hate it. As all of us do with our jobs.
I have a feeling that Chris Roberts probably is quite arrogant and demonstrative. Sorry, that's not the right term, but a bit of an unpleasant person to work with. I kind of get a feeling he's like that. I also have a feeling that maybe his wife, I don't know, I have a feeling that maybe she can be quite unpleasant as well. But that doesn't mean that they're not going to produce the product they say they are. It means that there may not be produce as nice an environment to work in as they would like to portray, which is unpleasant for those people that work there. But you know what? There's plenty of jobs for developers in the world.
Yeah.
So don't like it, leave.
Business people tend to concentrate on the business and not about pandering to people going, "Oh, I want to do this. Can you do this?" No, fuck off and do that somewhere else. We'll get somebody who wants to do what we are doing.
I'm sure time will put somebody in the I was right chair, and I'm just going to sit back and wait and see what happens.
But that voice cast is quite
very impressive, isn't
extreme, isn't it?
Yeah, must have
Including
cost
Chris
them
Roberts' wife.
90 million. Well, she's an actress. I mean, I think she was an actress before she got into this, so it's not unreasonable. But yeah, a little bit of nepotism there, I should imagine. But he doesn't have to pay her. So, he probably is.
Well,
he probably is, I should imagine.
That was another thing that was raised. Enough, I suppose. But yeah, it looks like we've got Gary Oldman, Gillian Anderson, Mark Strong, Mark Hamill, of course. John Rhys-Davies, Andy Serkis. So yeah, some good sort of genre stars there.
Yeah.
And but yeah,
I think it'd be great.
Voice actors. Speaking of voice actors, there's going to be a strike, or there might be a strike. There was a vote, wasn't there? SAG-AFTRA, and including people including Jennifer Hale,
who's Jennifer
Will
Hale?
Wheaton, David Hayter. They're all voting.
Jennifer Hale?
She's the voice of the female Commander Shepard.
Yeah.
Oh.
She is my bae.
Femme Shep. Right. Okay.
So they've all kind of it was 75% majority to go on strike. Basically, what they're asking for is better working conditions and a piece of the back end, which a lot of devs I think are not really into. I think there's this kind of, the argument seems to be, I mean, I totally get the thing about working conditions because like you're getting a lot of people going in there screaming their lungs out, ruining their vocal cords for $300 and not being able to work for a week afterwards.
There's also the thing. There's also the thing about the industry wanted to be able to define actors for inattentiveness. I can understand it because actors get paid by the hour, and if you have some prima donna who sort of says, "Oh, you go and sort yourselves out. I'm going to go for a coffee," or whatever, and wanders out, you've still got to pay her for that hour. Well, I say him or her, and I think that's the kind of thing they're after. But they've been very loose in their definitions of what is inattentiveness. Like, if there's a phone buzz in a downtime and you look at it, is that some people are saying that you're being inattentive to the director and you can get charged like $2,500 or something.
That's pretty lucky.
And there's also some stuff about if you don't put certain actors up for all the jobs that they could go for, then the agent's not allowed to put that actor up for anything or some ridiculous thing like this. So I think there's a lot of people humming and ahhing about the strike because they're saying it's ridiculous that they want royalties. Effectively, they want a share of the ongoing profits from any game sales when all the developers and other people involved don't get anything like that. But I think, to be honest, that's probably just a big bargaining chip. I think there was an article by Will Wheaton about this, and he spent a lot of time talking about the conditions and the unfettered fines and all that stuff, and so I kind of skipped over the royalties thing. And I think that's kind of telling because I don't think the royalties thing is something they can just drop as part of negotiation. It's just like the headline thing. So but what it means for, they haven't called a strike yet, but what it means is if they can't get a resolution around the table, then there might be a lot of very shit voice acting going on for a while when they get Beryl the sound lady to come in and do it.
The counter argument that sort of from the dev point of view they're saying is that the kind of comparative amount of money that it costs to make a game, to give the actors a share of the back end as well, it's too big, It's like they're not. It's like they say that they're not contributing to as much of the game as like an actor is in a movie.
No,
so,
I think that's probably right. You don't tend to buy a game because someone's done the voice, but you might go and see a movie because Robert Downey Jr. is in it or something.
We've definitely seen a lot of examples where like adding big screen names to games really like does do a lot for the production value of the experience.
Yeah, like getting Guy who voiced Batman to voice Batman and Hamill to voice the Joker is is a coup, you know.
Yeah.
And adds a level of authenticity to the game that
But
would be clearly missing.
But I played Batman Arkham Asylum and I didn't even know Mark Hamill was the Joker until a long time after I discovered it completely by accident. And I guess that's my point. You don't see game titles with starring Mark Hamill and Nolan North or whoever the guy is. You don't see that on there. It might be in the blurb somewhere. And you think, no, but it's not the selling.
But he certainly did a good job, though.
No, I'm not saying. See, this is the point. I'm not saying that these actors aren't worth paying a lot of money for, because I think they do. I mean, I've been. There's a number of forum stuff I've been following. People say, "Oh, all I just do is turn and read the scripts." Like, no, you know nothing about acting if that's all you think they do. How many times have you been in a game and you've been like, when they do a great job and you're completely immersed and you think, yeah, that is Batman, or that is Commander Shepard, or that is whoever. If you just had some random guy off the street doing it, I mean, how many times have you watched a movie and you think, God, that guy's a fucking bad actor, and it takes you out of the game. And when in a game, many of these games where the voice acting is important, if you lose immersion because the acting is absolutely terrible, that's the game. It's killer, absolute killer. So they do a very important job. And when you've got people with high talent in a high demand industry, they are able to offer, to demand what they want, because that's the nature of supply and demand.
Yeah, we'll have to see where the strike goes. Watch this space, I guess. There was a big Elite Dangerous info dump. They were talking about their Season 2 expansion at the Eurogamer Expo, I believe, a few weeks back. And they're going to be introducing multi-crew ships into Season 2, as well as player avatars and Steam VR support.
Yep.
Which is pretty cool. I didn't think multi-crew ships were that close. I know they were making a fuss about the planetary landings, but if they're adding that as well, holy fuck!
I don't think it's not necessarily happening at the same time as the launch in December, the first Horizons one, but it's happening as part of that.
Oh, Season 2 goes on then.
Is this this is a paid expansion, isn't it? This is the Horizons one.
This is the £40 Season 2 expansion.
But I think that's the initial one you get, and somebody needs to check this. From what I understand, you pay the £40 and that gets you the first one, and then some more bits a bit later on.
Yeah.
I hope, because there's no way I'm paying, if there's three of them, 120 quid for it.
No, well, I thought that was the season pass, wasn't it? I thought the 120 quid.
No, I thought 120 quid gets you everything forever for.
Oh, okay, right.
Isn't it? Oh shit!
I don't know.
Check now.
I think Season 2 is going to be £40, and it's going to be like an annual thing, isn't it? I mean, that's the impression I get.
But the Season 2 40 quid thing is a number of things. You get the Horizons one with planetary landings initially, and then a little while later you get the multi-crew ships, and then you'll get
but I'll pay £40 for that, though.
Yeah.
That seems
That's
reasonable.
Like a game over a year, instead of 40 quid for a map pack, which would be an EA product.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely up for giving multi-crew ships a go. That's one of the things about Star Citizen I'm excited about.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'd like to see how that worked. I mean, I'm curious.
Yeah.
I want to do the whole nice one, kid.
I absolutely want to do some cool co-op VR Elite Dangerous with you guys. I think that'd be awesome.
Just have to grind up to an Anaconda or something.
I've done a bit of the close quarter combat with Radchek over the last couple of weeks. Not very much, but enough to realise that it kind of works, to be honest. It does.
Cool.
Yeah, but good things about it.
Team Deathmatch with Elite bizarrely works quite well. It has floating power-ups. It's quite old school, except you're in an Elite ship and you need to get that... Turn the flight assist off quick or you're in trouble.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely blocking out some time for Elite over Christmas, or depending on whenever this expansion comes out. But yeah, there's got some release dates here. Firewatch, they announced today that that's coming out on the 9th of Feb.
Which is good. Looks interesting game.
It's kind of a bit of a walking simulator, isn't it? But you're kind of out in the sticks somewhere, and you've had I was reading that you've you've sort of had a bit of a bad time with your family and you've gone out into the middle of nowhere to sort of get away from it all. But yeah, no, that's done by Campo Santo with industry veterans who have worked on the likes of The Walking Dead, Brutal Legend, and Bioshock 2, and Mark of the Ninja. So some good talent there.
Great stuff.
But yeah, that's cool. Also, this was a little bit of a surprise. Is Far Cry Primal?
Oh God!
Coming out on the 23rd
I thought it
of
was
February.
quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, it makes a bloody change from just finding somewhere else that you can shoot up, I mean,
Yeah.
Well, when was the last Caveman simulator?
I don't know. Weeks ago.
Mostly, apart from the whole guns bit.
Yeah, but
okay.
I
didn't play that,
You've
to
got
be
like
fair,
a digital wrist thing with a holographic. It's not Caveman
However,
simulator.
there's dozens and dozens of dinosaurs that you can ride. So
Typical uneducated
Yeah.
comment. There's no dinosaurs in the Stone Age. They'd all died out by then. It's mammoths and saber-toothed tigers.
so there's just two animals then. So there's you, and so basically it's Far Cry 3.
And other tribes,
Okay,
want
right.
to smack you around.
That's fine.
Woolly
Fine.
elephants.
One thing I
let them
thought that
take
was
your
interesting about this. One thing I thought that was interesting about this trailer, and I may have got this wrong, but it seemed like they were using a foreign language and they weren't translating it. They were using like a made-up language.
Okay.
Was that just my imagination?
It was probably French or something, you ignoramus.
Oh, right. No, it wasn't.
You're watching the French trailer.
Well, the point I'm making, they weren't talking in English and there weren't subtitles, and so
That's what they do in different countries around the world, Pat.
No, I don't know. I think that was actually an English trailer,
Right,
But
okay.
it's,
I think it was.
featuring.
That might
but
be
the
really
point
good.
is,
That might be
wonder
really
if-
interesting. That would be interesting.
The point I was making is, I wonder if they're doing the same thing they do with Brothers: A Tale of Two
Yeah,
Sons.
well,
That works
where they-
perfectly for me.
where they essentially don't use a language that you
Simlish.
understand. That'd be really. Is it English?
Simlish.
Is what?
Simlish.
what are you
Simlish.
No,
talking
it's-
about, Rob? Jesus.
The Sims was
Okay.
like the first game to have that weird, like, parcel tongue sort of
Gotcha.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
speak.
No, wait a minute. No, I think it was it was from a Turkish site. It's Turkish. Obviously watching a Turkish Star Wars wasn't enough Turkish for me to recognise their language. Sorry about that.
I remember for a time when I was subbed to the Ubisoft YouTube channel, they would quite often publish about 5 different language versions of every trailer, and I'd quite often click on the wrong one and be like, "What? This is not a language I understand."
It looks too much like Far Cry 2 for me, which was a great game. I enjoyed that, but it wasn't. There wasn't a lot of action. There was a load of driving around and stuff.
There won't be any driving around in this.
No, there'll be a lot of walking around.
Which makes me wonder, is it going to be? I mean, I'm sure it's still going to be a map full of junk to do.
Bases to capture.
Yeah, towers to climb up.
Yep.
I mean, I think this is kind of analogous to the Blood Dragon thing they did for Far Cry 3.
Really?
Seems like it's... Well, I don't think it's going to be a full Far Cry-sized game. Especially not if you've got to walk everywhere.
I think it is. I think it is going to be a full game. It's becoming Assassin's Creed, isn't it? If it's a full-price game, then it is becoming Assassin's Creed, where they're taking the engine, swapping a couple of textures and models, and re-going, look, it's in this time.
Well,
so you think it's going to be like a full-price Far Cry?
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Yeah,
I think it's probably going to be. I think it's going to be a full-price game.
I think Rob might be right. I think it might be a shorter thing. Because what I'm thinking is like how much variety can you
and that's my question.
Have in that situation?
That's why I'm cynical about it.
Like okay, so you make mammoths extinct, and then you make saber-toothed tigers extinct. What else do you do in the game?
Mate. Is that the objective?
Yeah, make everything extinct.
Well, they said
extinctify.
Yeah, that's a new word. It's only one of many new words.
Well, I think it was. I don't think it was about so much
podcast.
extinctifying everything, but I think they were. I think the blurb said that you were part of a tribe and your tribe got killed in some kind of weird ambush by another tribe. You're on your own, and then you have to get your own tribe together and lead them to take over wherever the fuck you are. So I think it's more about sort of,
So
building an inquisition
Skinning
and
cats.
putting down the dark
Well,
one.
no, I'm interested then. If you've got like a squad of
Interesting.
Well,
clan
I think that's if that's true, that is like that is a sort of a break from the formula, and I'm kind of hoping that they are going to take a slightly more than cosmetic change to the formula for this, because as much as they're good fun, as we've all said, the whole thing was getting a little bit stale. I didn't play Far Cry 4. It looked like it was fun in places, but it looked a lot like Far Cry 3 to me.
You missed nothing at all.
Yeah, well,
the co-op was fun. That was fun. I'd still wouldn't mind playing the co-op with one of you guys.
I'm waiting
if
for
you
a
ever
cheap
decide
version
to get it.
but just for that.
The co-op was a lot of fun.
So now you've convinced me, and I hope it goes down that.
Well, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying
No,
it's worthy.
you haven't.
It's
No, it's
worthy.
your fault.
No. Don't be convinced. Don't give over that easily. I think it's worthwhile a little bit of additional attention over the coming months. Is really all I'm going to say.
Okay.
Interestingly, this hits 23rd of February on consoles, but it's going to be the next month on PC, which puts it almost up against The Division, if that happens.
No.
Which is as likely to come out ever as Star Citizen, in my opinion.
I'm just going to go and shit out how much care I have for that game.
Yeah, I know. I'm not feeling a lot of love for it either.
Kind of forgot about it, to be honest.
I
never really give a crap about that game, to be honest.
So,
I just think it's exploring so much similar terrain to what's been done kind of by the indies already, and it's just
It's
trying
all
to.
just a bit passé now, isn't it?
It's
Yeah, we've seen that now.
Apocalypse again. We'll all be playing Fallout 4 still, so whatever. Well, I will be. What else we got left here? Hitman delayed. Don't think anyone's that fussed. Although it's an interesting rollout that they're doing with that, where they're giving you like 3 areas and then a season pass if you want to get all the other areas, and it's like
They can fuck off.
Yeah, I don't think I have. I think I've got the last Hitman game that came out.
Absolutely.
I still haven't played it. Yeah, I still haven't played it. I've had it in my Steam library for ages.
It's good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind giving it a go. And PlayStation Now launches in the UK. It's going to be $12.99 a month. So that's for all your PS3 back catalogue streamed.
Can't you do? Is it only on the PS4? Can't you do?
You can. No, you can do it on PS3 and Vita as well.
So with the PS3, because I'm fairly sure I powered up the PS3 in a gaming mode and didn't just use it for Netflix and Amazon last week, and there were some games, like much older games, that I could stream to my PS3, which is good. That's great.
Yeah, you can pay $12.99 a month or £3 for individual games cost $2.99 to rent. So I don't know how long you can rent them for, but that has a lot to do with whether that's worth doing or not. If you can only have it for a night, that's awful.
Yeah.
If you could have it for a week.
Don't know. How did Blockbuster used to do? Because Blockbuster, back in the olden days, when you had to go you had to walk to a shop to get stuff. You used to be able to.
Pat used to rent loads of games, didn't you?
Yeah, I think you'll find they're called the golden days, because those are the days where I never had to pay for any computer games.
My jealousy. That must have been a glorious time. But you could rent them for a week or 3 nights or something for $2.99.
Yeah, I think the standard was like 5 nights or something like that, which was long enough to complete absolutely anything.
Yeah,
there was no
absolutely
Netflix or
disgusting
internet, so
amount
you
of
just went
games
home and played games. None of this.
And
YouTube
that carried on until with Love Film as well.
Yeah, I used to use them a bit.
All the way up until it was like the PS3. Used to get loads of PS3 and Xbox games on Love Film until they stopped that, basically because of Amazon not wanting to be in competition with themselves, I guess. But yeah, that was amazing. Just constantly have new games mailed to you.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised they got rid of it though. It does just as much damage as piracy does, probably more, to be honest.
So the launch titles for this platform include The Last of Us, Uncharted, and Shadow of the Colossus. So with that in mind, Adam, as someone who's about to join the PlayStation family once again.
Well, only if my children behave themselves.
Well, obviously with that minor caveat, of course, do you think that this is something you'd be interested in?
I'd probably look at checking it out. I just got to make sure I can. I mean, just because I'm just going to join the PlayStation family doesn't mean I'm going to get any more game time all of a sudden. No. So I've got to make sure that it's still worthwhile for me, because in some cases I'd rather pay, whatever it is. I don't know how much console games are these days. 150 quid for a 2-hour experience or something. But I've got to work out how. I'm interested in the idea, but yeah, I'll see.
Don't worry, mate.
To be honest,
I've got a load
Last
of games
of Us.
you can borrow if you want to borrow some games.
I just want to play Last of Us. That's all I want to play at the moment.
Did you get Last of Us with your PS4?
No, I just bought the PS. Sorry,
Then
I put PS4 at the Father
Won it in a
Christmas
raffle,
list. Just the actual base unit,
Okay.
and then we've got because don't forget the games are stretch goals.
Yeah.
okay, well, if you want to borrow my Last of
Actually-
Us, you're more than welcome to.
Okay, you're on.
It's quite funny how Last of Us for PS4 on Amazon is $20.93 and Last of Us for PS3 is $19.99. So it's just like, which version would you get? The better one, I suppose. Anyway,
PC version.
if only. And just to end this on a lighter note, it looks like there's going to be a Mass Effect theme park ride.
Yeah, what the fuck is that about?
What's the...
That's like making a Halo theme park ride. It's a bit strange.
Yeah, I
isn't
don't
it?
know how they're going to do it, but I guess I'll have to go and find out.
Oh, Cedar
well,
Fair,
this is gonna-
Jesus, they do all kinds of weird shit. Okay, that's fine. Sorry.
This is going to be at Great America, California's Great America Park that I'd never heard of in my life, and that's in Santa Clara, California. So yeah, it seems a little bit more mainstream than the Ubisoft Kuala Lumpur park thing that we mentioned the
More
other week.
likely to get there, if I'm honest. But,
Yeah, I suppose. It's going to be open next year, apparently, and it's going to use cutting-edge 3D technology and 4D
Ooh,
effects.
cutting edge.
Oh, my lord.
wow.
Super.
So
But you can be strapped in a chair as the Normandy goes about the Reaper, basically. That sounds like what it's going to be.
pretty
Yeah.
much. Oh well, and on that note, I guess I'll wrap it up. This has been the Not Playing Podcast in partnership with notlistening.co.uk, where you can also hear myself and Ian talk about movies and TV on the Not Watching Podcast, and Adam, Ash and Will, not that one, talk about all manner of funny things on the Not Listening Podcast. You can also let us know what we're doing right or wrong via email at notplayingpodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet at or follow us on Twitter at notplayingpod. You can find the show notes of this show at notlistening.co.uk, and if you're listening to us on iTunes, then please do give us a review. Anyway, that's all for now. Thanks for listening. See ya!
Bye-bye.
I suck at